Many of these disgusting and insinuating attacks on trans and LGBT people are actually projections of what predatory, cisgender, and often straight men do when left alone in the presence of women, or sometimes horribly, children. So instead of getting you to challenge the patriarchy, they're trying to get you to challenge the very gender expressiveness that challenges patriarchy. Don't get it twisted, because a lot of people attacking drag are projecting. Of these
as news broke that the Nashville school shooter identifies as transgender.
Comparison of they did it because they're trans is very unfair to trans people.
Andrea Segovia from the Transgender Education Network of Texas joined Monday's battle at the Capitol. Advocates worry the attacks aren't over.
You can't say that because one person did something that's a characteristic or reason to be cruel to trans people.
News broke that the Nashville school shooter identifies as trans.
Shalom, shalom. HALALYAM la. YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great MILLSTONE, teach them well. Peace and salutations be told for the elect. Our brother Tazam Gabar coming to truth with another lesson. I'm coming from the province in Babylon camp here in Tampa, Florida. All right, and this lesson is going to be going into this recent school shooting and the rumors that are going around about it, man. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna put it in the intro video, but it says trans community now in fear of direct attacks after Nashville school shooting. So what's going on with that is that people are saying, it says, the next slide says AOC says cisgender and straight men are often the ones after children, not LGBTQ and trans people. All right, so someone said that it was because that person wasn't LGBTQ. That's why they shot up that school with children and people in it, man. And their whole community's getting offended, I guess. And now they're trying to take it out on everybody else. Now let's go into the meaning of these words, because, man, it's just they're coming out with new terms and slang. And I don't think cisgender is new, but the fact that they're using it is, man, this is the time we're in. It says cisgender, denoting or relating to a person whose gender identity corresponds with the sex registered for them at birth, not transgender. Pretty much anybody but transgender. Okay. Cis, the prefix cis, it means on this side. Okay. As opposed to trans, which means on the other side. It says on the other side of or beyond. All right. So cis just means a normal person. All right. Now, what they're saying is AOC says, matter of fact, let's find out what the AOC is. All right, AOC is just Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is a congresswoman, pretty much. That's what she was saying. She was let's try. All right. Basically, she says she's defending the trans community. Oh my gosh, you gotta see the picture of this lady. It's like a fucking artard, man. But this is what we gotta deal with. You put these damn women in charge and positions of power, and we gotta deal with their emotions and how they feel and their wickedness, their a willingness to explore their wickedness, man. It says, trans community now in fear of direct attacks after Nashville school shooting. So what happened is this damn trans woman shot up the school, killed 6 children. All right, I don't know if it was children, but I know there was a few children, or maybe 3 children, 3 adults. But she killed 6 people, and the officers got in there and killed her. But she identified as a transgender man, meaning she calls herself a man when she was born a woman. It was definitely a woman. All right. But someone came out and said this this could be an attack on trans people. Actually, I haven't heard anybody come out and say that. I guess it says they're in fear of direct attacks. So here they are putting a guard up, a group of fucking weirdos. This is the time that we're living in, though, that you got to be careful for offending these guys, because now they're passing laws where you can get arrested for saying some shit about them, man. You know, they can persecute you just for offending someone that's confused, because Babylon has protection laws against those that are confused and destroyed, so that you can protect them from being saved from their destruction. It says Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 22, but the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. So these wicked people are doing unseemly things. They work at unseemly work, you know. But over here in Babylon, which is what you have, the land of confusion, everything going on in here is just very confusing. The fact that you get confusing when talking to someone, or the fact that you get confused when trying to identify what a person is, that goes to show you we're in the very last days. All right. Let me grab this in the book of 2nd Esdras. No matter of fact, let me grab this first in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 33. For YAHAWASHI is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. All right, so what is this confusion? It's like a cancer, you know. Think about the bodies. When you think about the bodies, it was made perfectly. It was made with no flaws. It wasn't made with cancer. It wasn't made with diseases. No, it was made, and then when things started going wrong in the body, when you start eating an unbalanced diet, eating the wrong things, you started committing errors in the body, then what? You have errors, diseases that are born, you know, recompenses that are born for those errors that were made in the body. All right, it's the same thing when you get a computer. You get a computer, there's certain things you can do in a computer. If you start disobeying the laws of the computer, you begin to get viruses. And the computer didn't come with viruses, but if you begin to disobey the order and the structure of the computer that you're supposed to follow, start going into other things that you weren't supposed to be on the computer, it begins to attract viruses, and these viruses can be a very strong nuisance. It's like a disease in the computer. Now, what this means is the laws of things that are, you know, there's laws to everything. You know, there's certain things that you can, like the body. Now, the comparison with the computer. With the computer, you can go into these many different websites that are illegal and that are just filthy, or you just can't even, you know, you're not supposed to be on them because it can destroy your computers. It doesn't mean, just because you can go on them doesn't mean you're supposed to go on them. You know, it's the same thing with the body. Just because you can eat pork doesn't mean you're supposed to eat pork. Okay? And you can't, just because you can break the laws doesn't mean it was meant for you to break the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, that's why you end up receiving all these diseases and stuff like that, man. You know? Grab this. All right. In Esdras, the book of Esdras, chapter Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5, and verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. So the confusion going out in many places, guess what? It's over here in Babylon predominantly, man, or dominantly in Babylon. And now it's moving around all these other countries, moving into all these other countries, destroying nations. All right? You know, this shit causes, man, it causes confusion. It causes destruction. It causes misguided people, which I can say, man, that woman, which thinks she's a man, that's a sign of, what would they call it? The word is slipping my tongue. It is... Oh, yeah, schizophrenic. That's a sign of schizophrenia, man. You know, a sign of being psycho, you being crazy. You thinking you're something that you're not when your body clearly says you're this. It's like thinking red, you looking at the red light and you thinking it's green. Now, if you're looking at a red light and you thinking it's green, and you go because you thought it was because you identify the red light as green, then the cars that naturally see the green, you know, they're going to keep going, and you're going to get your ass ran through, and eventually you're going to die. You're going to get killed going past that red light because you thought that you wanted to believe that it was a green light when it was a red light. It's the same thing with all these people believing that they're men when they're women, and women believing, and men believing that they're women when they're actually men. All right, so let me grab this in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 13. Consider the work of YAHAWASHI, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? All right, so look at these. Matter of fact, let's grab this thing over here again, what she said. She said, Alexandria said, cisgender and straight men are often the ones after children, not LGBTQ and trans people. Well, actually, the LGBTQ community is actually trying to legalize pedophilia also. So what she said made no sense. They're contradicting themselves in their own speech. They're trying to put LGBTQP in there, man, you know, for pedophilia. So these guys are in a deep ditch, man. There's no really talking these guys out of this. It's Babylon that allows them to run wickedly the way they do. All right, but who can make crooked, which the Lord YAHAWASHI, who can make straight, which the Lord YAHAWASHI made crooked? All right, these Edomites are crooked. You can't make them straight. And we're in their land, so they allow these crooked things. And now these people, all these other nations are suffering from it, man. You know, Jake thinking it's okay just because they got... You know, the scriptures say the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. So Job 9:24 tells you that Esau is in rulership. So you can expect... Salakia. You can expect some wicked shit coming from him, man. Alright. Consider the work of YAHAWASHI, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked. This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 27. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another. Men with men working that which is unseemly. So men on men, okay? Men on men action, that shit is sick. Woman on woman action, that shit is sick. It's twisted, and there is no life that cometh from it. You know, you cannot create another life through that. Life cannot come from that. Only death can come from that. And it tells you in the same scripture, men working with men that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. So HIV, AIDS, you know, all kinds of diseases that ends up killing you and making you suffer before you die. You know, it says, in receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. That recompense is these diseases, because like the viruses on the computer, when you start doing things not according to the natural order of the computer, you start attracting viruses. It's the same thing in this life. Start doing things contrary to the natural order of the way the Lord set it up. You may not have been born with diseases or anything like that, but you're going to attract it. And if you have children, they're going to contract it. You know, it's the recompense of your error, which was meat, which was actually perfect for the shit that you was doing, man. You know, it says Isaiah chapter 13 verse 19, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when YAHAWASHI overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, because why did it compare it to Sodom and Gomorrah? You know, because Babylon is wicked. Babylon is doing the same thing Sodom and Gomorrah was doing. Unseemly things, man. You know, and it's allowing these things to continue and continue and grow and grow and grow. And then they're putting up laws to protect it from from discontinuing. You know, the thing is, you actually got people forwarding this agenda and people fighting for this shit on the streets, rioting for their fruitcake rights. You know, and that's what you got to deal with here in Babylon, man. You know, I'd be real happy when this shit gets brought to nothing. All right. Yahawah Bashmi Shai Bashmi QADASH. I truly hope this quick lesson was edifying to you. Akim and Agwa to listen to truth and sincerity. To next time, I do say shalom.